If they don't buy your service, what are they missing out on? The client doesn't always know that their current state could be better.
Chris Mercieca is 25 years old, the founder of Gift the Goods and Happy Pot, two brands built by turning ideas into products people actually want. Today on the Whiteboard Blueprint, he breaks down the process he uses to turn imagination into real products, real brands, and real revenue. The same process that lets him pitch with certainty and build offers that sell themselves. Give yourself half an hour, fully focused, might completely change the way you see business and your capability of building something great.
If I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. This was before they actually invented the car.
By the end of this episode, I promise you'll have the exact blueprint to build products people don't just buy, they'll fight to be part of. So grab a pen, grab a journal, lean in, and build this with us, step by step. This is the Whiteboard Blueprint with Chris Mercieca. Let's go. So Chris, what are we here to learn today?
The whole principle of using empathy, a bit more creative problem solving, to solve real business problems that convert. Most businesses think that they're selling a product or a service, but in reality what they're selling is a deep understanding of their clients' problems and the ability to then convert. For years I thought that people paid me for what I made, my creativity, my execution, but in reality what I was selling was always a deep understanding of my clients' problems, then the creative way in which I executed those solutions.
Makes sense, man. I believe that this lesson today is not just for a specific business. I think it's for the generic business system.
This framework should apply to everyone who is interested in deeply understanding their clients to build a better offer, who then wants to execute on those in a structured way and create a repeatable, scalable process that feeds itself. I'm going to outline a 6-step framework. The first 3 steps are the true understanding of the client, whereas the last 3 steps revolve around the actual execution and then creating that scalable process. The first 3 are crucial to understand the client and be able to build the Grand Slam offer. The final 3 are then where all the magic actually happens. Step 1 is to understand the real pain points. Underline real. Step 2 is to step, pun intended, into their world. This is where the empathy happens. Step 3, map the value gaps. The value gaps will give you everything you need to understand exactly what the client currently lacks and what they could benefit from your offer. Step 4, build the Grand Slam offer. This, which I've stolen from Alex Hormozi, is basically creating the offer that they will feel stupid saying no to.
Okay.
Step 5 is to deliver the transformation. Now note, I've said transformation and not product or service, because what we're giving here is value and
Makes
not
sense.
a tangible item.
Love that.
Step 6 is to systemize the empathy. This is what takes your product or service, or rather transformation, from a one-time thing to a partnership and a consistent value exchange. So these are the 6 steps that I personally have fused into my business that allows me to truly meet the people where it matters, understand them before they even know who I am, because I've done a deep dive into their industry. I've used my past experiences with people within their industry to really get to know them better. And then all the way up until step 3, the work is all preparatory. Okay. So step 4 is when I would tailor the Grand Slam offer to that very specific client. And then step 5 and step 6 are execution and repeatability. Step 5 when you deliver, step 6 when you do it all over again. You systemize and you scale. These are all prep work. This usually gets done before you even pitch to the client.
Okay.
Step 4 is specific to the client, and this is actual pitch, right?
Yeah.
Step 5 is the delivery. Now this would look different depending on whatever industry you're in, but this is actual delivery, or rather completion, let's say. And step 6 is repeatability. So this is where it happens all over again. I may have had a bit of a typo there, but
Don't know. They understand.
They understand it. So, shall we step right into step 1?
Let's go for it.
Step 1, once again, is to identify the real pain points. Business, or rather business problems, are kind of like an iceberg. Usually you, or even sometimes the client, would only know what's up here, the tip of the iceberg. This is what we call surface level problems.
Okay.
This usually refers to return on investment, so how much they spend versus how much they get back, direct feedback. If they have a problem, they almost wouldn't know it's a problem unless someone has already told them about it. So this is service level stuff that they are obviously experiencing and that you can directly address. Now this is the stuff that most companies will try to pitch for, or against rather. So you have a horrible website, that is a service level problem. It doesn't look good. Whereas the tip of the iceberg in that specific instance is a bit more empathy based. customer-centric. What happens when you have a horrible website isn't just that it looks bad, but it doesn't represent your brand.
Yeah.
It doesn't convert.
Makes sense.
It doesn't bring you the leads that you want. It doesn't fulfill your business problems. So in understanding these real pain points, even before you pitch, you need to know that the problem isn't just what they articulate in a simple sentence. It goes deeper than that. You need to understand if they don't buy your service, what are they missing out on? If they stay in their current status quo, what do they stand to lose? The opportunity cost. And again, it almost always goes deeper than the tip of the iceberg. In our industry,
You have to focus on this?
we focus on both.
On both.
So this is something that every single person within that industry, every self-respecting product or service
Knows that
provider
problem.
should know. Knowing this well sets you apart. So we work in the custom corporate gift industry. We don't just sell the usual pens, hats, lanyards, mugs, and slap a logo on and we call them corporate gifts. What we do is truly understand that brand, their message, their vision, what they want to project with a specific gift experience for a specific occasion, and we create a tailored gift offering specifically for them.
Okay.
Now, the surface level problem is that pens and hats are low impact gifts. They don't necessarily...
They're not emotionally touching.
Exactly. So
Makes sense.
it's not something that you will look at and say, oh, I'm so happy that I got this gift.
You won't put it in like in a room or somewhere where you say,
It's not
I remember that.
special. It's
Yeah.
not memorable. The surface level issue, the deeper issue beyond that, is that it doesn't bring back true, proper value from the people that you are meant to give that value. A gift is meant to be memorable. It's not meant to just be something that you give out or spend your hard-earned marketing budget on.
Okay.
It's meant to be something that sets you apart from the crowd. When every single person in that crowd is giving away pens, you're not going to be set out from the crowd. And once that pen is exhausted, you're going to throw it in the bin and you're completely forgotten.
Yeah.
So what we do is we understand that in order for you to set yourself apart from the crowd, you need to do almost the opposite of what that crowd is doing. Now, it all sounds very meta, right? But it comes from a true understanding, which will now follow on in step 2. So step 1, summary, identify the real pain points, not just the tip of the iceberg and the stuff that's hemorrhaging you money or not giving you what you want, but rather, what is the true opportunity cost of not going for our product or service? When you are preparing your pitch, you need to understand their industry, their line of business, their company, as best as you can, prior to them even having a conversation with you. So this is all research and prep based.
So this has to happen before we go into step 2. Before
Even pitching. Understanding their industry truly will usually give you a good kind of foothold on the positioning of your pitch. So if I'm going to a conference and the gaming conference, let's say, is the place where I do most of my business, and I go there and I show them a catalog of what I can do, that's one thing. This is what I offer. This is some of the stuff may be similar to what you already have, some of the stuff may not be similar to what you have. But if I go there and I say, what gifts did you give last year? And they'll say A, B, C. Then I'll say, have you heard good things about those gifts? And then they realize, we don't have a closed feedback loop. We don't really know anything about it. Why don't we know anything about it? Probably because it wasn't memorable enough. And then I'll say, do you know that 2/3 of gifts get thrown away? That's all prep. That's for research. But it's all true.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's a 70% increase in employee appreciation because they were given a decent, memorable gift? Do you know that those gifts that don't get thrown away and manage to actually get touch points throughout the day because they're on a shelf, because they're on a desk, actually truly are touch points that remind you of that great company? In building that pitch, in building that narrative, you truly establish yourself as a thought leader. You know what's going on in that industry, so you're in a position where you can truly affect change within that industry and that company. Step 2, step into their world. Now this I would split into 2 parts. First, you step into their world to tailor your pitch.
Okay.
Then you step into their world, even still in the preparatory stage, for the delivery, or rather, the deliverables.
Yeah.
The pitch is kind of building on step 1, understanding them as well as you can so that you can tailor their pitch to them so it's music to their ears. The second, delivery or deliverables, is when they typically deal with someone of your industry, whether you're a web developer or a graphic designer or a real estate agent, what service do they get and how can you improve on it? You step into their world, you understand the current status quo, and just completely build on the little value that they currently have. Let's give a practical example. Let's say you are a web developer, although that might look like a basketball.
Tennis, yeah.
So someone who needs a website, a company that needs a website, currently don't have a great website, hence why they need it.
Yeah.
The idea for you to go to pitch isn't just, I can build you a website in 3 weeks. The idea is you go there, you show the value gaps, you say, this is what you're missing out on. This is what I've currently done for my clients. Use the current rapport that you have. Use the industry knowledge and the experience as a weapon to give yourself credibility. So in my experience, we've worked with some of the top brands, both in media, in gaming, in real estate, across Malta and across the world. If I go to a pitch and I just give them my portfolio, it's one thing. If I go and give them an offer, it's another. If I give them both, or a really nice proposal that obviously meshes all those things together and builds credibility, it's another. If I do all of that, but I'm physically demonstrating and showing that I've stepped into their world, then that, I would say, is close to a grand slam. Use empathy to break status quo. The status quo right now is negative. If it's not as bad, you have to try to frame it in a way which shows that there is opportunity cost. How do I use empathy to break the status quo? If I don't show...
In baby English.
Okay.
How would you explain this?
Empathy. Empathy is a true understanding of your counterpart. Empathy is using human emotion and connection to understand what drives that person, what holds that person back, what are they looking for, what are they not looking for, how have they been hurt in the past, and how can you fix that hurt.
Yeah.
Using empathy is usually the best way to connect with someone, and as we've already explained, most people don't buy a product or service, they buy a solution to their problems.
Exactly.
They buy a true understanding and a true deep communication between the seller and the buyer, and that then leads to possibly a partnership and a good connection. So the status quo is negative. You have a horrible website. The opportunity cost of that, again, I'm stepping into their world. Look at, I am not the web developer at this point. I am the web developer that's stepping into the shoes of the person buying and trying to understand the way their brain works. If I have a horrible website, it's not representing my brand. Even if I have great work, even if I've worked with the biggest brands, I don't exactly have anything to show for it because the way I'm represented out there online isn't as best as it should be. That's holding me back from what's the opportunity cost? Leads. Leads should lead to meetings, but they don't, and that should lead to sales, but it doesn't. If I don't have these, what do I not have? Growth. I've stepped into their world, I've understood that because they don't have a website, because they don't have good gifts, because they don't have the right talent, because they don't have X, Y, Z, what they're missing out on is company growth. So now I will then focus on the deliverables. How do I tailor my pitch? How do I go against the grain of what someone else is already pitching them to show that you will get more growth, not less? The deliverables. Someone who is typically purchasing, let's go back to my example, gifts. Right? I need to not only understand their industry and their company, but I need to also understand the process. Most companies that buy corporate gifts go to a corporate gift supplier, they get a catalog, and they get a number, thousands, probably millions of items that they can slap their logo on and get shipped from China. That is not only not novel and not innovative in terms of product, but it's also very robotic in terms of process. You're not speaking with a person, there's no creativity, there's no innovation there. The only thing that's happening is a cookie cutter solution where you're getting what everyone else is getting in a different color. The deliverables typically are selection, this is the offer, the pitch, this is human versus NPC, or just call it a robot, right? The actual product or delivery, the actual delivery of that product, and then the after sales. So these 6 points are all points that currently exist within the industry that I am offering. The same thing applies if you are a graphic designer. If you are a graphic designer within the graphic design space, your competitors or the people who the company that you're approaching is currently employing has given them their portfolio, they have pitched, whether in person or through a call, they have shown them the products, they've actually delivered that product, and then there's the after sales. Would they want to continue working with you? In my case, I'm going to go back to the gift to goods kind of example. The selection is typically bullshit corporate gifts, for lack of a better word. So what I do there is I show that my selection, my offer, my pitch, my product is totally different to what's currently on the market. I not only...
And you have to believe it's true.
Because
believe
it
in your
is.
product,
I mean, if that's kind of starts from...
But what if it's the same?
If it's the same, then you have to innovate on the other fronts. So if the product is the same, then the pitch, the selection, delivery, and after sales cannot be the same, because then it's just a competition by price. And if it's a competition by price, strongly suggest you read Blue Ocean Strategy. Then it's a red ocean. Competition by price is a race to the bottom. You keep competing by price, you keep cutting prices, you keep slashing prices here and there, and then it doesn't come down to how innovative you are. It comes down to who's cheapest. And if you're cheapest, you don't have margins. If you don't have margins, you don't grow.
Makes sense.
So you need to innovate on all of these points. If one of them is exactly the same as your competitor, you need to innovate on the others, and so on and so forth. In my case, my selection is unique, it's novel, and it's totally tailored to you. There's empathy involved even in the selection. I don't have a catalog. There are some companies I've worked with that I've productized because the product is really, really cool. So I try to use it for other companies. But for the most part, the selection is a blank canvas. The pitch. If I send a cold call or an email, it's one thing. Very, very easy to ignore. I ignore tens of them a day. Whereas if I go in person, then that human element, totally different scenario. The product, the actual quality of the product. How does it feel? How is it packaged?
I remember when we met last time, we spoke about a feeling. of what we could
The
possibly
smell
create.
and everything around it. It's literally the entire experience, and this has to be tip top. If your selection looks great, if the pitch is amazing, but then you let them down on the product, then you've lost the ability to do any after sales because you've lost that client. So you need to obviously always try to get 10 on 10 on all of these. The delivery, is it reliable? Is it on time? Did you under-promise and over-deliver, or did you over-promise and under-deliver? The after sales, once all of this is done, how will you keep that client happy even beyond the transaction? Did you ask for a review? Did you create content? Did you document whatever you did for them? Are they happy to have been a part of your journey, and are you happy to be a part of theirs, right? So this is all empathy based. And now we'll go to the last step, the last preparatory step, which is to mind the value gaps.
No, I think it's straightforward, and last time we met, as I said, that we spoke about possibly creating a product for potential guests, and one thing you mentioned is that it's not only what visual it gives, it's also what memory it gives to it.
Exactly.
What I would do if it comes to Champions Connect is, with every guest I get, for example, you're pitching an idea to me. What I expect from you is obviously what's different to other people's. Okay, I can't just go on a website and just buy some mugs and buy some journals or buy random things. But imagine we have something that is visually nicer, that smells different. Imagine we have a smell. I'm giving you an example that smells. If I own a football stadium, and I sell something that's exactly, you know the feeling. I know that Barcelona, I think, and all the big clubs sell.
They package the grass.
Exactly, and they sell it. So I think that's what you're saying.
The product, out of all of these, obviously, the biggest input that I give is always to the product. They have to be vetted, they have to be perfect. The actual packaging, the actual experience itself doesn't have to bring a smile to their face. It has to bring a smile to mine. If I'm not happy sending it out the door, then I can guarantee, or I can almost guarantee, that they're not going to be ecstatic to receive it.
Step 3, which I'm really excited about because it's the last step to then going on to the bigger stages.
Map the value gaps. Now, we've already kind of touched on these before, and I like to visualize these as two cliffs. This is the current state, and here we'll draw a person. I wouldn't say that they're sad, but they're neutral. Right?
Let's say it. They need help to come here.
They need help. But there's an age-old quote from Henry Ford that says, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. This was before they actually invented the car. People don't always know what they want. So they're neither sad, but not happy. They're neutral. The second cliff is the desired outcome. So current state is where we are. The desired outcome is where we want the client to be, and where we're going to pitch that the client gets. On the current state, the client is neither happy nor sad, the client is neutral. Because the client doesn't always know that their current state could be better. So you have to tailor your pitch in a way which doesn't necessarily tear them down and say you're in a horrible state, but you have to show them the utopia. You have to show them where you're able to take them. The value gaps we can show in the form of a bridge. The value gaps are this dead space that we need to fill up with our product or service so that the client ends up happy. I'll go back to my example. The current state of a company that I'm pitching to is that they've given horrible corporate gifts for the past 3 years, whether it's at expos, whether it's at the end of the year, but I'm pitching them at an expo. So I want to focus on the promotional merchandise that they give out at these conferences. What usually happens is they give out pens, they give out stickers.
The same old shit again.
The only problem is most companies have a marketing budget and they have to spend that marketing budget. It's not that they could, or most companies have to spend that marketing budget. But if you're going for the cookie cutter solution and you're spending the marketing budget on something that is unwise, then the value gap is that not only are you as the company not happy, but the client, the person who's actually getting that stuff, isn't as happy as they could be, right? Most people set it, but most people don't, right?
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
The value gap in my case was that merchandise or promotional gifts are actually high impact and high utility, meaning that there are a lot of touch points, people get to use them, there's a consistent value exchange. The second is that they are sustainable or unsustainable. So if something is eco-friendly, then the company has benefits for ESG regulations and so on and so forth. The third is repeatability. So how likely is someone to want to use it again or want to interact with it again? The more touch points that that person has with the product, the more likely they are to remember you, the more likely they are to use your services. So that is the value gap, essentially. The desired outcome doesn't just relate to the product, but also the process and the entire service offering or product offering at large. The desired outcome is that they have great quality, great service, reliability, and trust. these two are kind of together. The great quality is essential, right? Like we said before, the product is the most important. The service is, do they have to chase you for an update? How likely are you to deliver on time? Do they know that there's a delay or there isn't a delay?
Let's say there's a problem with the delaying part, which is normal.
Right there.
So imagine, okay, you're supplying with these things and you're the middleman to many things.
Okay.
You come to, let's say, 3D print, and the printer goes.
Well, first of all, you need to establish a business to be able to cater for those high-risk environments. For
Also
example,
starting.
Right, but let's say if you don't cater your business or your tools or your equipment or your property to it, you have to at least cater your process to it. I know for a fact that in Malta, people want everything free and today. Not possible, and you know this.
Do you think? Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's most. I think it's most people who don't understand the process of.
Right. However, I've worked with a few companies internationally, and Malta tends to be a bit high, right? Because the average of people who expect a lot for a little is very, very high.
I get you.
While I was still operating exclusively in the Maltese market, I used to get these orders for 10 items tomorrow. Now, if I only had X amount of time and X amount of machinery to use,
You don't promise it.
I either don't promise it or I just don't do it.
That's
right?
not okay.
So you have to either establish yourself and establish your own expectations and the client's expectations, right? There's the price, there's the quality, and there's the time. If you want something that's a good price and a good quality, you can't do it in too short of a time.
You can have all if you have very established, but
If you want something that's good quality and tomorrow, it can't be a good price. If you want something tomorrow and good quality, obviously it's going to cost you money. In order for you to have a good timeline, a price that works for the both of you, and great quality, and this is a non-negotiable for me, the timeline has to make sense. If the timeline doesn't make sense, then the price has to be high. You need to step your foot down as a business owner and say that to the client even before you confirm the order.
So for whoever's starting, make sure you understand the triangle format and also these steps. I believe that if you lack on one of them, you should start working on them right now. What I would do if I'm in this stage at the moment and I take on something I don't have time to deliver as much, I would go back to the drawing board, go on to Trust, call them and say, listen, I have a bit of a problem. Don't let them and don't play around with their feelings. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
So no time, build trust.
Exactly.
Don't lose.
Exactly. Good loop. Good loop.
That's right.
So far we've established the 3 steps, which are to understand the real pain points, that's the iceberg, put yourself in their shoes, to really understand using empathy what drives them and what doesn't, and to map the value gaps. Now that we have all of this, we should have an in-depth understanding of that specific client, the industry landscape that they operate in, and how to truly set yourself amongst the crowd when creating your tailored pitch. Now the next step, which is where it all comes together and you actually pitch it to the client, is building the Grand Slam offer.
Make sure you're writing all these steps down, because I believe that I've learned a lot till now. So I've sat down here and learned a lot. In just 20 minutes past, I'm not too sure.
Step 4 is to build the Grand Slam offer. Now this is a coined term by Alex Hormozi, and basically the Grand Slam offer is an offer that people feel stupid saying no to. So it's so undeniably great that they would feel like a fool if they were to walk away from it. Now there's a few key steps to make this actually happen. The first is to establish the core deliverables. This relates to what you will be giving them as part of your product or service. You've known what the value gaps are. Let's go back to the first example. It would relate mostly to these. The sweeteners will be mentioned slightly, but they'll focus more on the
core, yeah.
So the core deliverables, if you're building a website, are how many pages are in the website, what's the functionality of the website, and what you would expect and how much time and for what money. So this, once again, comes from empathy. Why? Because in order for you, in your Grand Slam offer, to pitch the friction removers, you need to know what friction removers they've currently experienced up until this point. If someone is building a website for you, a friction that you are likely to experience is that they are not responsive and that they take time. So in order for you to implement this in a Grand Slam offer, 24-hour chatbot or customer service or speed dial, call me whenever you need me. Another friction could be delays. You would guarantee that the website would be ready within 4 weeks, and if not, you slash the price. So that is basically minimizing any friction that they were to get. Once again,
I love this point.
Yeah, it's basically understanding what could go wrong and easing their mind that you'll make the best of your ability for it to not go wrong. The third is the emotional payoff. Once again, exclusively built on empathy. This isn't just you'll have a nice website. This is your brand will be better represented because of the work we do together. Your people will know you better because of this great product that we're building for you. Emotionally, you as a business owner who's buying this website, this is where the sale happens. You're not just solving the tip of the iceberg problem for me, but you're hitting all the empathy points.
This part of the iceberg can usually, it's sometimes brutal because they can get offended. So what I would do personally.
Right, you mean being a bit careful with the word.
Exactly,
right?
well, that's what I would do personally. So, okay, you come up with these, but sometimes you know how people are. they may take things to, so for example, you come up to me and say, listen, Luca, for example, that light over there should have been more up there.
Right.
For example.
If you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, you'd be like, oh, who's this guy?
Exactly.
Look at my lights.
Exactly. Try and make this make sense for both people to understand.
I agree with you 100% that you need to be a bit careful. I'm confident in the way that I pitch because I know that I'm going to be empathetic and nice enough to not call them out on their shit and say that you have a horrible way of doing things, but frame it in a way that you could be doing it better.
It depends on the person.
It depends on the person.
So sometimes people need harsh.
If you frame, some people need harsh, and I think although harsh is essential, you need to also frame yourself as someone who's okay to work with.
For sure.
Now, if you're confident that you frame this in the best way possible, you were harsh because you told the truths that needed to be told, but you were also nice, and they still were rude to you, were mean to you, or somehow got defensive, chances are, me personally, that's not the type of person I want to work with.
Yeah.
So I probably won't even go towards the next steps because I'm confident that in the way that I pitch, I'm pitching it with
in a very polite way.
And in a polite way. And if you're not even privy to that, then probably something. Now again, you're in the position that you have to say yes because you're broke or whatever, then you might have to swallow your pride and get stuff done. But if you're in a position to pick your battles, I would always pick the people who you are really enjoying working with, right?
Super.
The risk reversal, which ties into the friction removers. What are the risks in my business? When someone orders a large order from me, a common risk that they have is that if they have stock left over, they have to store it in the marketing officer's office because they don't have a place to put it. How do I frame that in a way which benefits me and them? I say, feel free to overorder. Feel free to order 1,000 more. And for that, I'll give you a better price. But if you don't need it now and you don't want to encumber any space, I will store it for you and we'll do a separate delivery. So that shows I've understood the risk. I know the emotional payoff and I've now reversed it.
I need a place.
But I have a place. So I use the value and I use the resources that I have to not only show empathy and know the risks, but reverse it. And what I've done that way, made them feel more secure about the sale, and that's the Grand Slam offer. The Grand Slam isn't just for them, it's also for us. This shows what happens at the butt end of this product or of this service. If they choose to go for this offer that establishes these deliverables, that removes all of these frictions, that makes you feel great, allows you to build or produce your product better, that doesn't have any risks, or the risks that are there are not only mitigated but even reversed, and ultimately transforms your business. The transformation is where it all culminates together. You will be set up to truly transform your business and scale upwards. We've done all the prep work, we've taken the Grand Slam offer to the client, they've accepted it because we're great, and now it comes to actually delivering the transformation. The client's life or the client's business is transformed because of what we've delivered. As Steve Jobs perfectly said, the experience is the product. So the reason why we've not said product or service is because what we have pitched all along and what we have provided now should be framed in a way which is transformative, right? Now this all might sound a little bit meta, but we'll get into why the customer is at the core of it. So something that my first and greatest mentor ever told me said that the client is at the core of everything you do. The customer-centric approach is what differentiates one business from the next. In delivering the transformation, you need to look at 3 stages: before, after, and the point in which the transformation is actually given. So in this case, let's say delivery. Before the transformation is given, you've done all the preparatory work, you've done all the reliability and trust building, and that's basically the prep work that you've done. The delivery is the actual physical delivery. If it's a website, it's the completion. Obviously, if it's a service like a website, you also have some before work. You have some check-ins, updates, discovery meetings. How do you frame it in a way which is transformative? The after is the after sales. Once that product is delivered, does the contract, the Grand Slam offer, say that you'll be there for anything that they need? If it doesn't say that in the contract, how do you put yourself there for anything that they may need? How do you create?
And the nice thing about this, before I stop you there, this circle right here could take from weeks to months to years.
It could be a few minutes sometimes, but it depends on the product and service offering. You tailor the pitch, you deliver a sample, and then you deliver the actual product, like manufactured products, and then they've entered your Google Sheet so that you can retarget them, and then you can aim at building an actual partnership. If you have a one-time thing, then you have money and you have trust once. If you manage to do all of this through a partnership, time and time again, you stand to make so much more revenue and profit, but you actually get that relationship and trust so many times. You know, the beautiful thing about this is the more contact you have with that one client, the more likely they are to then give you new clients. So you should aim to always improve as much points of contacts with the clients that you have to the tune of a partnership, right? So this, at this point, you've done all the prep work, you've actually delivered, and then it's about capitalizing and going on to the next step, which is creating a scalable, repeatable system that keeps bringing the people back and keeps expanding this client pool. Now, step 6 relates directly to you as a business, not just to the client. Scaling the system. In order to scale the system, you need to have a system to scale.
Yeah.
So what do you do first? You systemize it via a process. In order to scale the system, you need data. That data takes the form of feedback. Using that feedback, you feed the process, which then creates the overarching system. Now this is fuck that, bro, looks like Pikachu. We have a bear. That's fine. It's just a problem. This has absolutely nothing to do with what we're saying.
Okay.
It's just an observer, right? So this was meant to be one thing, now it's another, that's fine. Hesitate. The feedback is what you'll use from those client interactions, from those sales closed, in order to improve your system. Feedback as a Google review works wonders because it opens you up to more clients, you show up on more people's Googles, so on and so forth, that's great. But feedback as an internal tool allows you to build those processes, improve them, and then build system. By process, I mean the actual steps that you take, whether it's in your pitching, in your proposal building, in your service offering, in your manufacturing, creating something which we call SOP, Standard Operating Procedures. Now, I am notoriously not great at following these SOPs, but I've built them.
What is an SOP?
Standard Operating Procedure.
Which you aren't good at, you said?
I've become better at them because I've kind of force-fed them to myself, and now they seem to have stuck. Like, I don't even have to look at the list of steps in order to make these happen. But it's important to have these written down because if the business is to scale, it cannot just be you. So when you show your new recruits or people who are helping you out, whether it's your mother-in-law or 10 new marketing managers, having these listed down in a process, it shows people a foolproof way of getting things done. If they're written down, they're the rule book, they're the Bible of the company. The process is what allows you to scale. Otherwise, you're going to keep having those individual transactions that we said before. You may have one partnership, but then it won't allow you to get to the next because you maybe don't have the right time or the right time management, right? So use the feedback that you gather from your current clients and even from your internal teams, as much data as you possibly can. Let's say it's a sales process. In order for you to actually give the Grand Slam offer, you have to have a sales process. Sales process is lead generation, find them on LinkedIn, Instagram, Lidl, wherever you want to find those leads. The second is the outreach, whether that's a cold call, an email, a pigeon. The third is the proposal, which you should prepare prior to the meeting. After the meeting, you have the follow-up, you close, invoice, after sales. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-step program for you to actually close. That's pretty much basic. Without all of these, you can't close. So if you don't do these relatively systematically, you won't be able to get more of them at the same time. You may be able to get 1 or 2, but in order for you to keep up with 10 clients at a time, 10 leads at a time, you need to have a process. So that's why this is so important. In order for you to scale, these processes have to be sacrosanct. Build the Grand Slam offer, do it once, do it messy, fail fast, get horrible feedback, then start getting better feedback. Use all of that data, good and bad, to build the process, then build the system, and continue using these to build bigger and better processes and systems.
Alright, welcome to the Pathcards. Here's how it's gonna work. In front of our guest today are 3 cards, each representing a different creator-entrepreneurial path: creation, monetization, and growth. Chris will pick one at random. Once he does, I'll hit him with a challenge question based on the path he's chosen. But there's a catch. He gets 60 seconds to break it all down. No notes, no prep, just raw problem solving. Live and under pressure. It's quick, it's intense, and it's where we see how real entrepreneurs/creators think while the clock is ticking.
Choose. Let's go.
So this is the
Wait.
surprise moment of the day. Like, what do you have for me, Luca? Monetization. Oh, it is the fun one.
It's the fun one, actually. Monetization. Just to explain what the monetization question is, you have 10,000 euros on the line. So I gave you 10,000 euros today, which is not true.
Thanks, man.
What's the first step that you'll take to scale your business with this 10,000 euro and scale it to the maximum?
An art business or a creative business?
So your current business.
Okay.
You're gonna scale that with 10,000 euro to the max.
First, knowledge. I would get to know thought leaders, know what they did, what they didn't do, what they should have done, and understand how I can expedite my process. So I would spend probably, let's say, 4,000 on courses, masterclasses, mentors, etc. I would invest in a space. I would spend, let's say, another 3,000 euros. That should be rent for an entire year if you go on the right channels. I actually have found the space for 3K.
You have 3K left.
Marketing, make it 1.5, and the rest is tools. This could relate to materials, machines, techniques. Actually, I put too much money on knowledge. Let's say 2K, because nowadays tools are cheaper, knowledge is more accessible. So let's say 2K, and then I would spend 3.5K on tools. That you can get some better machines, materials, stuff to play around with, some big boy tools, and you use them in the space, which is pretty much what you're doing. So I mean, you did the same thing. You invested in knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's through coffee
Possibly
meetings
much more.
with people. You invested in this space and the other.
Yeah.
You bought the tools, probably spent way more than 3.5k, and you're marketing constantly. So you're doing what I would do in a different space.
Here's what you had to walk away with after watching this full episode. Step 1, identify the real pain points, not guesses, the real problems people come across. Step into their world, understand how they think, talk, and even make decisions. Map the value gaps, which is super important to spot what's missing and where you can stand out most. We'll go on to step 4, which is super interesting, which is build the Grand Slam offer. Something so clear and valuable that it's super hard to ignore. Deliver a real transformation, results people can actually feel and talk about. Step number 6, cherry on the cake, turn it into something relatable and sustainable. Let me give you a short hint. This isn't a one-watch episode. So replay it, break it down, and apply it to what you're creating. Believe in yourself, trust what you're building, and keep moving forward.
I believe that this is super beneficial for people who want to succeed in any business they want to achieve. So if you put these steps, the 6 steps, plus the monetization part, I believe that you could succeed if you put your mind to it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment on who you want to see next. Make sure you subscribe, it's free. I'm really angry if you don't. And as always, Champions Connect out.
What he said.